Here we are at the Truman Brewery Complex talking to the legendary Marcus Intalex of Solar Recordings.
How you doing?
We've just dashed over from your London residency at Plastic People. How did you find it? How was the crowd?
Well, obviously with what I do and the amount of travelling I do, I never get the chance to play first. Yeah. So it's a case of digging deep, just building a vibe up slowly. I like doing that, you know, and I like playing things that I might not get a chance to play at 2 o'clock in the morning. I'll play half an hour, 40 minutes of non-drum and bass, you know what I mean, just to, because that's what I'm into. Yeah, I'm not trying to rinse it out at 10 o'clock, you know what I mean? I don't try to rinse it out anyway, but that, you know what I mean? It's just like, here's a chance to do something a little bit different, warm it up, and then when drum and bass comes in, it actually lifts people anyway, it works.
Manchester parties as well.
Yeah, that's once a month. Yeah, that's going really well as well. Yeah.
How do you feel the vibe sort of differs from city to city?
When we do Manchester, it's just all our friends come down and it just ends up being a bit of a drunken bit of fun with your mates, basically. Then you come to London and it's a similar kind of thing, it's just more industry type people in there. I actually sometimes prefer playing in London when you get a good knowledgeable crowd in there and you just get that specific crowd just there for me and Dominic who know what we're going to do, then it's electric, man, it's really good.
Going on to talk about your label, when you started it, what were your creative aims for it?
Obviously I've been involved in the music for a long time and like involved at a really low level to start off with, that working in record shops, buying records, scratching for promos, do reviews for Mixmag, anything just to get the records. So I've kind of seen it grow and I've always been in it from day one, but I had my favourites and I'd known what sold because I've worked in record shops and stuff, and it was just a case of there's 2 or 3 labels, I like the angles, I like the way they're going, and eventually, if I always want to have a record label, eventually if I ever do, and I want to run it like this, trying to be progressive, push the music forward. I want to put a record out that, if it wasn't my record label, I want to buy it. Just something that suits our taste and suits the angle of what we're trying to do.
Have you got plenty plans for like a full-length LP?
We actually had a meeting last night. We are talking about doing a mystical album. I don't think it'll mean that all 3 of us in the studio at the same time. Right. It'll probably be combinations of 2 or individual tracks. I don't want to rush it. If it's not ready by the time we've said, then we'll just delay it and make sure that we're all happy with it. But that's the project for 2000. That's a big one for 2005.
How do you kind of divide your studio duties between you and ST Files?
We were together in one place, and now we've kind of moved out because it wasn't really working at that place. In the meantime, I bought myself a G5 and just sat there in my bedroom thinking, if other people can do this, you know, it must be possible. You know, not saying it's easy, it just must be possible. You know, because we both technically know what we're doing, you know what I mean, but I've always left like things like mix downs and stuff to ST Files because he's good at it, you know what I mean? It's like no point me trying to tell him what to do when he knows what he's doing, you know what I mean? But at the same time, I wanted to be confident that I knew what I was doing as well. I've kind of fell in love with just using Logic. It takes all the nonsense, all the hard work out of making music. It allows you to be more creative because it's just all there on screen, it's a lot quicker. You've got something idea in your head, you can actually get it out pretty quick by doing it individually, just at home in my bedroom, not having to worry about what the other person thinks, just being able to sit there and mess about. I'm having a great time, you know what I mean? At the same time, we're still doing things together. It's just better creatively.
What do you think has been your biggest musical influence?
Probably the early days, the beginning of the rave phenomenon, if you will, like the early house music days. Just going out and capturing this whole new thing that was happening and just sweeping the country. Especially going to places like the Hacienda, which I don't think that for me will ever be beaten as far as an atmosphere and an expectancy and just a level of enthusiasm, because to everybody it's new, you know. If you go to a club now, a lot of people who haven't been before think, yeah, that's wicked, you know what I mean? But they say, when it was back then, nobody knew, you know what I mean? Everybody was just like, wow, what the hell is this? You know what I mean? And the DJs there were really good. They just basically played good music quite across the board, mostly house and stuff. Yeah. But it's just an education.
I think that's quite prevalent in your music. The output for Solar is as much rooted in the Hacienda and kind of early Detroit.
The whole Detroit thing, that was me, you know what I mean, completely. Yeah. Derek May, Kevin Saunderson, Juan Atkins, them 3, Carl Craig, I don't think their music's been better. It just blew me away, basically. That was the beauty of going to places like the Hacienda and stuff. Just the whole education thing about it, and everybody just grew up on them good tunes, you know what I mean? Nobody used to play any kind of cheesy stuff or whatever. It was just all deep.
With Solar, you've got a real definite kind of ID with the packaging and stuff. Is that a conscious decision you took to make it all really kind of presentable?
Didn't do it on purpose. Even the name didn't come about on purpose, you know what I mean? It's just like, that looks good. That will sort of stand the test of time. It will sort of say what we're about. So at the same time, we want to make a statement visually as well. Yeah. A lot of drum and bass at the time was all about technology and looking spacey and look, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, fine.
I wanted to get something more
organic. I just wanted something natural, more organic.
Are there any other artists that you haven't brought into the camp yet that you'd like to bring in?
It's not particularly artists, I just listen to music, and if I like something, I don't care if it's bad, you know what I mean? If I want to put it out, I'll be in touch. We just sound a thing from D-Bridge, just reminds me of Crust from about 5 years ago. It's dirty, it's just horrible, but nice. It's a little bit deeper, a little bit more of an ugly sound. It's good for us and good for the label, because we're not just about one thing, we're just about good music, and it fits the bill perfectly.
When you're looking at venues in London, how many other sort of possible kind of definite venues did you see before Plastic People?
Didn't really see anywhere. We had a couple in mind. I quite like Cargo. I just wanted to do something that wasn't on the obvious drum and bass roster, and I just love Plastic People. I just love that club, and it just got to a point where it's like, if we're not going to do it there, then let's not do it. We speak a lot and we get on quite well with other Bugs crew and stuff, and we kind of all know each other and kind of respect each other musically and stuff. So I got them to have a word with the guy who runs the club, and he was cool, and it was just like people just helping us out a little bit. It's my favourite space, and it's a really good sound system.
Definitely.
And it's quality sound.
It just needs
You're
to
going
be
to walk
clear
out there talking normally, not having to shout, your ears aren't going to be grated, but you're going to know, you've heard every single frequency in the tunes.
There's a difference between loudness and resonance, you know what I mean? That's a lot of people don't see that.
The guy loves his sound, you know what I mean? He knows it back to front, you know what I mean? Which, for me, just
couldn't ask for any more of a D&B night.
For a DJ, definitely.
It's been wicked talking to you,
I've
Marcus.
had a really good time, thank you very much.
Excellent, man. Wicked.
We'll do it again.